Hello, class. My presentation is about human resource and its effects it has on compensation. So, there we go. So, my first initial thought about, you know, the world of HR and compensation was that, it's just compensation, it's essentially it's just all about money, which my my mind was changed. So, how HR directly affects compensation is um, most often compensation of employees is one of the largest expenses for a business. So, I mean, it makes sense if you're a huge corporation or business and you got to pay your hundreds and thousands of employees, that's going to add up. So, it's important to attract the best employees that you can for the price that you're also going to save money, but you also want to get the best employees so that your business can run, you know, the best that it can. You don't want a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing running the business, whereas that might be a cheaper option. You gotta and that's the job of HR is to find the balance. um, yeah, because HR has a major say in compensation of employees. So, they try to create the most efficient way through all forms of compensation, which isn't just money, to attract top potential hirees and also stay within the potential budget set by the company or business. So, like I said before, HR wants to get the best and most qualified employees. Um, so that's where they got to find that balance is not paying too much, but still paying enough that they attract um, best employees. So this will help the business to run better. And because, like I already said, if you have a bunch of people that, aren't really that qualified for their job, it could cost you money because they could mess up, and you want the best people that you can doing the best thing. And the most qualified people are going to be looking for their best options across the board for compensation. So they're going to be looking at the direct and the indirect aspects of compensation. So direct compensation is it's like the money directly paid to employees, and it includes wages, salaries, bonuses, tips, and commissions. And then there's also indirect financial compensation, and this is a benefit given to an employee that has like a financial value, but it's not like directly money. So it's like not a non-cash benefit more than often. It could be like medical insurance coverage. That's a good option. Typically, that's a real major thing that people look for in indirect compensation is insurance coverages like dental and stuff like that. And then these are all the different forms of compensation. There's wages, salaries, allowances, benefits, and then incentives/bonuses. So wages/salaries, that's going to be like your base pay. That's the money you are making, how much money you're making. Wages are often hourly, and then salaries are monthly/yearly. So, I mean, I work at a golf course, like mowing and like maintenance like that. So I don't work there year round full time. I just work there when I'm not at school, and now I'm working there now because we got sent back because of the virus. So I make $12 an hour. So that's my wages. It's hourly. Now, if I were to work there a long time, I'd probably get onto a salary, and then it's not based on your hours anymore. Like as long as you work and you show up and you do your job, you're gonna get that set amount that you're supposed to get monthly and yearly. Um, your wages and your salary will establish your standard of living. So if you're making, you know, minimum wage, you'll probably have a minimum standard of living. Now, if you're like a boss or an executive or something somewhere, you're going to be higher up there. Typically, you'll have nicer cars, nicer homes, stuff like that. It's also how an employee's value is established. So, if you're making minimum wage or you're just making, barely above that, and someone else who's at your job, they're part of the company, but they have a different job and they're making more money, it typically, shows that they're a little more valuable to that company. Minimum wage must be met. In the United States now, I think it's up to like almost 10 now, something like that. It's like 9 something, almost 10. But it's different everywhere you go in the world, like in places that, have efficient governments set up. At least in the United States, that minimum wage must be met. Also, businesses, they want to be competitive towards their other rival businesses in order to ensure they get the best qualified employees. So if, say, you're an electricity business and, you got a bunch of people, you're trying to hire people, potential hirees, and then your rival electric business is, also doing the same thing, but they're offering more money to these people. Typically, I mean, they're going to go with the better option of more money. So you got to stay competitive and make sure that your prices, what you pay your employees, will match that of other rival businesses. And then there's allowances. Now this is typically like, it's also kind of like money, but it's not like directly money paid to you. So like the dearness allowance, this allowance is given to protect real income of an employee against price rise and is paid as a percentage of their basic pay. So it's just takes a percentage out of what the company actually pays them. There's house rent allowance. Companies that don't provide living accommodation to their employees pay house rent allowance to employees, and it's calculated as a percent of their salary also. This next one is typically for employees and people that live near or work in big cities. And this is if the cost of living is a lot more because it's a big city, like say it's Chicago, it's expensive, or New York, that's a better option. New York, it's really expensive to live in New York. And so it's normally a fixed amount per month, a certain percent of basic pay if you are a government employee. And yeah, they help you out with that. If you're a government employee, it's typically higher than non-government employees, so you'll get paid a better city compensatory allowance. And then there's also transport allowance. Some companies pay transport allowance. So, like travel expenses, if to get from your apartment or your house to work, like say you take a train or a subway or the bus or something, instead of you having to pay for that, they take a little bit out, a fixed amount is paid every month to cover a part of traveling expenses. So you don't have to pay so much to get to work, and they'll help you out. There's benefits. Benefits are a mixture of direct and indirect compensation. So many different benefits are out there. There's health benefits, that's the main one. And those consist of like medical care, hospital fees, accident relief, different insurances, dental stuff. That's a great benefit. It's what a lot of people look for, especially nowadays. They're not just looking for how much money they can get; they're looking for like the best benefits as well. And it's a key aspect of companies and businesses getting employees, because that's a big thing that people look for these days. Indirect benefits also consist of performance management options. So that way, and like I said, in bettering your employees as workers and everyday people. I mistyped there, but that's just like exactly what it said, performance management. So you're providing the tools and the options for, they could take classes and like learn how to be better leaders, or like maybe a class how to like manage their money better and stuff like that. That's a good benefit to have. There's bonuses and incentives. So there's performance-based pay, typically for bonuses or incentives. And this will encourage, employees to work harder and do better, because if they like reach that certain goal set by the business or their boss, they're going to get that bonus, and that's typically worth getting. They can be individualistic, so it can be like, just about you as long as you do better, or if you're part of a team, group based. Bonuses can also consist of gain sharing. Commissions are on sales. So like, you make a certain amount of sales, you get a percent of that, and that's pretty cool. So the overview to take away from this, in the world of HR and compensation. The primary motivation of most employees is getting that bread, but now we know that that bread is not just money. It's a lot more than that. It's a good mixture of direct and indirect compensation. The best candidates are going to look for the best compensation options. So businesses got to look at what they're able to do and make the best of what they have in order to get the best employees, because better employees is going to mean a better run business, and then in the end, more money for the business owners. Strong emphasis in recent years on more than just direct initial compensation. And that's what I was saying, like, especially with like the health benefits and, insurance coverages by getting on a company's insurance and stuff like that. Like, that's huge these days. And then to wrap things up, how COVID-19 is affecting compensation and that whole world of, HR and compensation. At least recently, only essential businesses are open. So that's like, some food places, grocery stores, and then I think also like auto shops fall on there, and agriculture, stuff like that. And I work at a golf course, which falls under agriculture, so we're still open, and tons of people are there every day. Most small businesses are closed, and that's unfortunate. Hopefully, a lot of these small businesses are able to, once this virus passes, are able to still bounce back from this and, stay afloat. And then for some of those who are working, they're making more money than they normally do because, either, the state has said like they don't want people out, and then they're out. So I know like Walmart, they're offering like $16 an hour here, which I think is a lot. I should quit my job. I'm only getting 12. Some are also still getting paid for hours they were scheduled, and that's pretty cool. And yeah, here's my works cited. You can now ask questions at this time. All right, no questions. Cool. Thank you for listening.